subscribe. You can view the other videos that I have recorded this week and last. And yeah, please give me through the end of day just because of the way that my schedule is. I could get it up in a half an hour, but it could take me till the end of the day. When I do add those now, I have now started to add the chat. So the history of the chat will also be a linked document. Just fair warning, I added one of those yesterday and the first 8 minutes was not included for some reason. I don't know why. So just as a heads up. I'm going to turn off my captioning now, but if you need that on, by all means, use that support on your end. All right. So with that being said, I'm ready to record. And just a reminder, if you don't want to be in the recording, just mute your camera. Oh, I was already recording. Okay. All right. So we are doing Connecting Parents to Schoology today. And so we are looking in Schoology as our location to hub all of our lesson materials and connect our parents. The first topic on the agenda is just actually a little bit of why we want to do this, why it is important. And so for that, I just want to talk about this experience of remote learning at home from a parent's perspective. We do know that many of our parents are at home right now, and they may have a preschooler, a third grader, and even a 9th or 10th. They have multiple children, sometimes across multiple buildings. And depending on if the math teacher uses Google Classroom and the reading teacher uses something else, maybe Schoology, preschool might be communicating with Class Dojo. And these parents with 2, 3, 4, 5 or more children in their home that they're trying to educate have all these different places to go. We are more likely to lose their engagement if we are confusing them. So what we want to do is look at today how to get them connected, how to make sure you know if your parents are connected, and how to put all your resources, no matter what you're using, because no one is asking you to change what you're doing, but hub those in Schoology so that parents at home have one place they have to go to view all their children and all of their teachers and courses and see at least where we go. We want to direct our parents to one location. So we're going to look at that today. Now, the first thing we have to do is find out if our parents are connected. So I'm going to show you how to do that first. When you log into Schoology, go to your courses, and you can select any course where you have students. My background is I was a former primary teacher for 10 years, so homeroom works really great because all my students would be in my homeroom course. If I teach 9th grade English, my homeroom only has a few students, and some of them I don't even teach, so I would want to go into my content. But go into a course where you have students enrolled. Oh, I selected the wrong one. One moment. This one. All right, when I'm in my course, scroll down. On the far left is the tab Members. Click on Members.
Hey, Rosemary, should we be able to see what you're doing? Because all we see is you.
Thank you, my bad. Oh, it says I'm presenting. You can't see?
Just you, we see you and your plant.
But you can't see Schoology right now?
No. I can't.
I can see Schoology.
Most people can.
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, so for the individual who can't, just double check that you have not pinned me. You can pin anyone if I wanted to. Jody, I hope you don't mind, I'm going to use you. If I pin Jody, then Jody becomes the main person that I see if I pin her. And then I wouldn't.
Okay, how do I unpin if I did that?
Yeah, so look at, maybe you've pinned me. So look at me and make sure that the pin is not activated. Like I know Kimberly Dawson, for example, if I had accidentally pinned her, she would just be who I'm seeing. So make sure you haven't accidentally pinned someone.
Just unclick pin?
Yeah, just unclick the pin, and then you should be able to see my screen. Now, because you did not get the benefit of seeing me navigate there, I will go back to quick navigation. So go to your course. And then within your courses, on the far left, scroll down to the Members tab. Click on Members. In your Members, you can see if a student has a parent connected simply by if they have a little gray name beneath their name in the members list. So right away at a glance, I can tell that Grace's parent is not connected, Jaton's parent is not connected, and Jennifer's parent is not connected. But I can see that Angela, Hannah, and Mary all have a connected parent. Okay, I do realize most of your class lists are longer than this. This is a sample class, but I just wanted to show you that. So you may have no parents connected at all. And so you may want to, it just depends on what your school is doing. By now, I think we've all established some ways that we are reaching out to families. Use your normal reach out channels, but then you want to connect with your parents and ask them, do you have a Schoology account? If the answer is no, you want to encourage them to go to Schoology.com. Now, ask them if they have a mobile phone, and if they do, have them download the mobile app for Schoology. Okay, so again, that was have them go to Schoology.com and download the mobile app for Schoology. I'm going to show this in a slightly different order than I did last week or earlier this week. Feels like a week ago. All right. So if you have a parent, go to Schoology.com. If they don't have an account, they're going to click sign up as a parent. When they click sign up as a parent, it opens a box immediately to enter an access code. If they do have an account, you're going to have them log in and have them add a student to their account. So the magic thing that you need is the parent access code. We're going to look in my course again. And to find the parent access codes, look to the far right. This green box over here, let me just, I'm going over some, sorry, I'm on a new agenda topic. We are now on access codes, do's and don'ts. So number one is don't share this access code. That is the course access code, and that is for adding a student to the course. That is not for adding a parent. So that is not the access code you use. But right below that, it says in small blue letters, parent access codes. If you click that, you'll be prompted to download a document, and that is an Excel CSV file. I previously opened one up. Oh, sorry, I forgot to reset it. I previously opened one, and this is what it will look like. It will have your whole list of students. Rows A and B, I hid. It's just a student ID number, and you don't need it. It's the internal Schoology student ID. Has nothing to do with what you need to do. So in the Excel file, you'll see under column F, as in Frank. Sometimes when I'm joking, I say F as in frustrating. F is where the parent access codes are. I had previously gone in and blocked those out so that these students are secure. I like to make it bold, and I like to make it big. I have a big, bold personality. It's easier to read. All right, so if I have my parent access codes, now when I reach out to Grace's parent, I can say to that parent, here's your access code, enter this. Now, so we're on don't number 2. Please do not send this whole file to parents. If you send this whole file to parents, you're giving them access codes to everyone in your class. So please do not share this file with parents. You can share the individual access code with parents. And then if you're not muted, if you could please mute, share the individual access code with your parents. So just to recap that, in our course, in the members tab, we took a glance at our members, and we can visually see connected parents, or we can see if none are connected because there's no name beneath it. To get our access codes, we went to parent access codes and downloaded the Excel file. When that opened, we looked at this column F, and that is our access codes. And so individually to parents, I'm going to share this information. So now it's important to share, to review how we do share this information and what we should not do.
Hey, Rosemary.
If you've got a question, I'm just going to ask you to save it, please. Let me finish my point. Okay, because parent access codes are considered secure student information, meaning it goes into student account information within the school setting, we do not share these access codes just out in a generic way. You wouldn't want to send it by a Facebook message or things like that. You want to send it by a secure platform. So you can share it with a parent if you're on the phone with them and you verified that is the parent or legal guardian. there are some things you can check in PowerSchool. I can show that as well. Make sure that you are talking to the parent. If you hadn't connected with them prior to this, you will need to ask some identifying questions like home address, child's date of birth. All of these you can find in PowerSchool. I can go to that page in a minute. If you know it's the parent, you can provide the access code over the phone, or if you cannot reach the parent and they have an email address in PowerSchool, you can email that parent that student's code. I would not copy all the information. I would just say, here's your parent access code, and send it to them. I do also want to point out that parent access codes have all been emailed to the child's email account in Google. So all of our K through 12 students do actually have an email account. So if I just go to Google, students do have Gmail. They log into their Gmail using their cincinnatips.org address. So their username at cincinnatips.org. So parents can also go in there to grab their student access codes, and that letter will actually give them their access codes for PowerSchool as well. So that's a great place to direct your parents. All right, Ashley, I'm gonna hop back into the meeting, and just to keep things smooth, let's save our questions for the chat and have Ashley share those with me. Ashley, questions? The question about, are you allowed to text the parent access code? I saw that one. I'm just going to answer that real quick. If that is a verified phone number in PowerSchool and you see that number in there, yes, you could. Ashley?
There was a question regarding from Ms. Terrain. Will Rosemary explain the difference in use between courses and groups? I set up a group for my parents.
Okay. I will definitely do that. My next topic after how to connect our parents are ideas for ways to engage our parents. So I will add that to there. I will put groups, and I'll make sure I address that in the next topic. Another question?
Are you allowed to text the parent access code via cell phone?
If you have verified that that is the cell phone address, that is the cell phone account in PowerSchool, yes, you can. And bear with me 1 second while I pull up PowerSchool. So we want to talk about ways to connect our parents. And so for that, I'm going to jump into
taking questions.
What was that? I'm sorry.
Are you taking questions now?
From Ashley. So you need to type your question into the chat. And if I get to a point where I say, let's unmute, I will not be sharing my screen anymore, and I'll be back in the meeting. But just for right now, since we have over 15 people, it's much easier to just have the questions in the chat. But yes, please add your questions to the chat. All right. I'm now adding to the chat a resource folder, and we're going to go over some of those resources together because we still might have trouble connecting with our parents. So I'm going to show you where you can connect with your parents. So if you look at that Drive folder, I thought I had that turned off. If you look at that Drive folder, I've got some resources that we're going to go over now. This might be a good time to split your tab if you want to work with me, but I'm going to walk you right through it so you don't need to. Ashley, were there other questions before I get into ways to access student information?
Yes. Can you show us what the parents will actually see once they're inside the course, or once they log into Schoology?
Yep, I'm going to show it from two different perspectives. I'm going to show on the screen, and I'm also going to show in mobile. So let me add that down. Parent view, screen, mobile. All right, great. So the folder that I just dropped in there for you is, bear in mind, I created this folder when we were physically present with our students. I think I created it over a year ago initially, but the resources for getting parents connected still apply. So you can ignore a lot of the sample letters because those are when we have our kids with us and for sending these letters home. But right now I'm going to go to the slide document, ways for teachers to access student information with visuals. So let me just make this a larger view for you. No. All right, Please mute your side of the, please mute your side. I'm getting a little bit of feedback. All right. Let me jump back in there, sorry. You know what, I'll just put it in present mode. So it's big. All right, the slide deck that is called Ways to Connect Your Parents. This is a set of instructions that we've had out for a while now. This is finding information in PowerSchool, and it's a slide deck. And so it does show you that you can go to student web IDs, and that will pull your student login information. So if you want to direct parents to get the letters that were emailed to students, you would need the student web ID to share with parents. So that would be the student username, and you can see there's a little sample of that report here. It'll give the student's first and last name. It's obviously been blacked out because it's a copy of real student information. It'll give the student first and last name. It'll give the student's user ID, which is their Gmail address. So it's user ID at cincinnatips.org. It stands for cincinnatipublicschools.org. Then their password is going to be their 8-digit date of birth. It is possible that a child has changed their Google password to get into their Gmail. And if they did, that's not a problem. Typically that happens with grades above 2 and up. So grades 2 to 12, a child might have changed their Google password, but all a parent would need to do is either click on Forgot Password option or contact the help desk at itmhelp@cpsboe. And Ashley, if you could put the ITM help email address in the chat, if parents cannot get into their child's Gmail account, they can contact ITM help and they can reset that password. All right.
Sure. Rosemary, can you briefly explain for preschool teachers, because I don't think pre-K students have email?
Yep. So I was talking, yep, thank you for clarifying that. So if I didn't say it clearly enough, the email accounts are just for K through 12. So we're going to go through that first, and then I'm going to get into some other ideas. All right. So that's how you pull the student web ID report from PowerSchool. You log into PowerSchool, you go down to Reports, and in the Reports tab, you pull the report for student web IDs. So that's how you're going to get the information for students to log into their Google accounts if they're K to 12. In your reports, you can also go and click on the backpack link. If you click on the backpack, sorry, it's not in reports. I did these slides backwards. I added these slides. In PowerSchool, you can go to reports and you can get the web IDs, or you can just skip that and go straight to backpack. And in the backpack, it pulls up your full class list, and then you can click student by student, and you can see the student's name, their web ID, their password, and their email. Now, this example is actually a preschool student that I pulled, and you can see there is no email. So preschool does not have email. But hopefully, if you teach preschool, you have got a contact list and you've been in touch with your parents. If you go into Clever, and I can show how to get into Clever in a minute, I just want to show this, and this might help your preschool parents. You will see that if you log into Clever and you go to your classes, I've opened up a class for preschool. It gives a list of your students. You can click on that list of students, and it gives their date of birth, their name, their username, but then down here there's a phone number that's pulled in from PowerSchool. You could try that. All right. And if you don't have a working phone number, CPS is doing everything they can to reach out to parents via every format, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. There has been a campaign, and if you are on any of those platforms, I really suggest you go in and share it, but it's parents, please provide your recent contact information. We are aware that, you know, not every parent or not every PowerSchool account has a current working phone number in it. Try the email address. I did work with a kindergarten teacher a couple weeks ago, and she had decided to snail mail some letters out. I'm not saying that you need to do that, but it's just an idea. We do want to try to connect to our parents, but we can't give them that information if we can't connect to them. If you're still really stuck, I really recommend that you reach out to your building principal and find out what the plan is going to be to get in touch with these parents that you can't get connected to. But once you're connected to them, you want to ask that question. Are you connected to Schoology? If the answer is no, go to Schoology.com, sign up as a parent. That was this tab. And you provide the parent that access code for that child. Now, what's great about that is that access code for that child is not about you and your classroom. It's about that child. And so when that parent connects to that child in Schoology, that parent is connected to that child from preschool through 12th grade. Every year, if they just continue with them, PowerSchool automatically loads the roster so that child is connected to all of their teachers, every course that they're registered in PowerSchool. If they're a preschool student and they're just in their preschool teacher's homeroom, that's what shows up for the parents. If they are a 10th grade student with 6 different courses, all of those show up. In addition, I do want to share this, and it's in that resource folder as well. The step-by-step instruction guide for parents. This is already in your resource folder. This tells them to go to Schoology.com, gives them the steps of signing up as a parent. Then it walks them through. Somebody asked, what does it look like for parents? This guide actually shows what the parent sees once they get the access code. So I would, if you are digitally connecting with them, if they've got email or you're connecting through Dojo or whatever, individually message them. Actually, this document you can send on a public platform because this document has no student information in it. So I've worked with a preschool teacher who's using a closed Facebook group. You could post this information sheet on your Facebook page. You could post this on your Twitter. You can put it on your Class Dojo story. But this is just the instructions, and it shows them, for example, a little tip like putting their name instead of their child's name, because some of the parents start signing up and think that they're putting their child in. They're not. They're supposed to put themselves in. And then once they're in, this is a snapshot. So I'm going to go into my account and show you what this looks like a little closer. But once they are in, they have their child registered. They kind of get this generic look, but what they can do is click on at the top, add child. So to those parents that you connected to, where you said, do you have a Schoology account? And they go, well, yeah, I do, but it's just for my high school student. Let them know, okay, this is actually for every grade level, preschool to 12. So could you please log into your account and click the button, add child. Everything I'm showing you on this screen does work on mobile. It will navigate slightly differently depending on if it's an Android or Apple device, depending on the settings on the device. So we just give the visual of logging in from a computer, but everything I'm showing a parent can do from a mobile device. So let's pause right there on a mobile device because I want this to be shared very clearly. Most of our parents are probably connecting on a cell phone. So if they download the app, they have to enter the code RRRX as the district code. So jot that one down. RRRX is the district code. This applies to you as well. I really recommend that you download the Schoology app on your phone. So the first time you log into the Schoology app, you do have to put in the district code, and it is RRRX. Now the parent will get a letter that will share that code with them. Bear with me 1 second because I forgot to pull that up for today's meeting. Whoops. It's pulling it up on another screen. Sorry, and then we wait. There is somebody unmuted. If you could please look at your microphone and mute yourself. Thought I got the person that was unmuted, but I'm getting a little feedback on my end. Okay. So here is a copy of the blank letter that parents will find in their email address and their child's email. Ignore the date, that doesn't matter. but they will have their Schoology sign up information to the left and their PowerSchool sign up information to the right. And okay, this is an older one, so I'm sorry, I don't have the newest one pulled up, but it actually tells them on the newest letter that if they sign up on the mobile app, it gives them the district code RRRX. So that is on the letter that is in their child's email addresses for K to 12. If you are personally connecting with them, you will want to notify them. I'm already kind of thinking ahead of a question, a sample message to send to parents. I don't have that written yet, but I'm sure that many of you would appreciate not having to have all of this written out individually. So I will try to get a sample message out to parents by the time I post the video today. Just because I'm naming all these things that you should add. So I'll try to add that for you guys today. So this is where I'm backtracking now. This is where they add their child if they're already in or if they have more than one sibling to add. So then they put in the code and now both children are showing up. And that's what's really important about this, everyone. Some parents have actually told me when I've been out for a parent training on Schoology, I just log into my kid's account. Two things with that. One, that parent, even if they're not intending to, they're actually violating student privacy because a parent should not assume a child's seat in a class. That means that parent is privy to the whole class list, what the other students are sharing. That parent should be in their parent account because the parent account is more like a parent-teacher conference. When a parent views a class discussion, the teacher's information is there, their own child's response is there, but every other child is blocked out. When a parent views an assignment, if they're in their parent account, they can see the assignment, they can see the instructions, and they can even see what their child responded, but they can't fill out that assignment. So we do want to teach our parents that it's really important for them to log into their parent account for student privacy, but also too, if they have more than one sibling, so that they don't have to log out, log back in, log out, log back in for every child. Those children can all be viewed by toggling between your children in the app. So this is a really helpful view for a parent. And for that one, I am going to pull up my parent account. My daughter has since graduated, so she doesn't have active courses, but I can still show you what they see. Just one moment. Unfortunately, my computer is running super duper slow right now. So bear with me for just a minute. All right, here is the parent view. The person who asked, what does a parent see? You can see that it says at the top, I'm viewing as Mary Sermons. I could show you the mobile app, the parent view. I'm going to show you in the later part of the hour. We're going to get into ideas for what to include to engage your parents. And I'm going to show you some samples of what some teachers have done. But for now, I just want to show you this. So I'm in as Mary Sermon's parent. So I'm getting updates for Mary. Now, if I go up here, I can go into my own account, okay? And this is what some parents are saying to us. I don't have any courses. Well, no, you do not have any courses. Your child has courses. Now, unfortunately, I think my child, they've still got, that's right, I've added her to some sample courses. So when a parent views their child's courses, this is what they see. And then they can go in to a course that their child is in. And for example, they could go into this discussion, which is with students working in it. Not really sure what just happened there. Looks like it booted me out. Second. All right. Please be patient with me. My home Wi-Fi is not always running at 100%. All right. So I can view my child's courses and I can look at content. and I can look at the courses she is enrolled in. It looks like it's going to boot me out right now, so I'm going to just close that. I hope that was enough of a little bit of a snapshot for you to see what the parent sees, but it's important that you, yes, close all. It's important that you make sure the parent understands that they can view their child's information. We have had some parents contacting our help desk saying, I signed into Schoology, but I'm not in any courses. Well, that's because your child is in the courses, so you want to toggle down to your child's view. And if you have multiple siblings, then you can just click from child to child. All right, I'm going to pause there because that was a lot, and I want to make sure that Ashley doesn't have some questions that I need to answer right now. Ashley?
Yes, there are a few questions. I was just getting ready to type back to Lindsay Davis. The best way for your kiddos to log in in kindergarten is to go through Clever. They can use their Google account, which is their username and birth date. Once they log in through Clever, they can click on the Schoology icon, and it'll take them right to it.
Yeah, so that is absolutely true. We do recommend that everybody, staff and students, try to use their Clever account because it takes them right to the right login page. So Ashley's giving you great advice. For preschool and first grade teachers, there is an option for badging into Clever and into Schoology. And for that, I would really suggest that you join my primary session on Friday. It's 10:39. I might have a chance to hit that question. I'm going to add it as a possible follow-up. Pre-K, K badges, because that might be more helpful. If you want your kindergarten student to actually log into their own account and do their own work, like participate in a discussion or do an activity that's built in Schoology, they do need to be logged in their account. We're getting ready to move to the last part of the agenda, the ideas, and I'm showing you some ideas from preschool, kindergarten, K1, upper elementary, and then all of these could be applied at the high school level. But at the high school level, they're probably not being as guided by their parents as they are in the elementary level. So I will look at that when we get a chance. Other questions?
Yep. Amy, or I think Amy had the question about using telephone numbers that were given to her that weren't in PowerSchool. You can go ahead and use the cell phone number that was given to you by the parent. I would recommend that the parent call maybe customer help to have them updated in PowerSchool. But go ahead and use that number that they provided. And then we have a couple questions from Carol. She's asking questions from a specialist standpoint. Rosemary, maybe you can address these. She does not. Let's see.
Which specialist is it? Is it like a reading, math, or intervention specialist, or is it like a special teacher, PE, art, music?
She's a reading specialist.
Okay.
Is there a way to create a course or group in Schoology? Schoology, she says she created one and wants to create another one.
Hey, that is a really great. Oh, can I answer one at a time?
Sure.
Okay, so for reading, math specialists, intervention specialists, if you don't have a course already in Schoology, the first, and I don't have this on our calendar yet, the first one I was able to schedule was our specialist for art, music, PE. But if you are a support specialist in reading, math, or intervention role, and you don't have a course, my recommendation is that you team up with the general ed content area teacher and be added as a co-administrator. What you can do is create a grading group where you can give materials just to your students, but because our reading and math specialists also offer tier 1 interventions that should be done by all students in the class, I really recommend that you partner up with the core content teacher. So as an example, if you're a reading specialist and you serve students in 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, then you should partner up with the 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade content area teacher in your building and be a co-administrator. I am planning to add that training to our schedule this week. I have just, I'm stretched a little thin, but I'm trying to get that on for this week. So keep an eye on our CPS Tech Talk. We have pinned at the top our virtual PD offerings, and you can view their opportunities. I think it was just yesterday or maybe Monday, I added the one for art, music, and PE teachers. I am going to add one for specialists such as reading, math, and support. All of that being said, there are times when partnering together just isn't working yet right now. I'd maybe first reach out to that teacher and ask if you guys can be partners. In that, if they don't want to do that, or it's just maybe your building principal says they want everybody to own their own course. I don't know. It's a building level decision, but it is my absolute recommendation that we try not to create more courses. And here's why. I want to show you a visual. I think visuals are more powerful. Give me 1 second to pull up this image. Here it is. Okay, our students, when they are logged into their Schoology account and their parents, they have a grid of 12 tiles available to them. Now, in my Friday session on adding visuals, I'll go over why. You can already see why we need to add a visual to our course. This is hard to navigate. But if you'll notice, the average student, like this is a second grader at Kilgore, only have room for 2 more tiles. Now, when they run out of tiles, by teachers adding courses and enrolling their kids in those courses, they're adding a tile to their grid. If it goes above 12, that child has to do the more tedious navigation process of going up to Schoology, clicking on courses, then clicking on my courses, and then finding that course in the list. So if we can, we want to try not to add on extra courses to our kids right now, because it's just going to add to their navigation process. I do understand it might be easier for you to have your own course, but we want to think about the parent-student experience at home right now. And we don't want to add on extra navigation steps if we don't have to. So do keep in mind that if your child, if the student that you have at home is enrolled in multiple additional courses, it's going to add to their tile view, and it's going to mean you're going to have to communicate more navigation steps. All right. I gave a lot of an answer to that, and it is why I am planning to have a specialist training individually, because I know you guys need extra support. Ashley?
Yes.
Next question, please.
Yep. I think this is Principal Ross. There is not a way to email students from Schoology, but you can send out a mass message. Each course can do that.
Yeah, so let's take a look at that for just a second. I'm going to go into that sample course. When you post an update, if it's a mass message, then that really should be posted as an update. And Dr. Turpo, I know that you use this all the time. If a teacher is in their course, they can mass message their course via an update. Students can then comment on that, or the teacher can give them instructions to reply to them via an individual message. They would just click on this envelope. But a mass, anything that goes out to the whole class should actually just be posted on the updates. The individual messages are from when we need to send a more customized message to our students. And we can send groups at a time. Like we could send them at, to be honest with you, I probably wouldn't send a message that you haven't logged in or done your work. I would still send those individually, but maybe it's to your reading group that is in the reading specialist group, and you want to get them an individual private message. You do that up here. But group messages should just go right here on your updates page of your course. Other questions? By 10 till, I do want to get into some of the ideas and samples. Anything else I need to answer right now, Ashley?
Can you show, okay, so there are old courses. Patricia is asking, there are old courses on my own courses page. Can I delete old courses specific to schools I am not at anymore?
Yeah, so if you're in a course and you are the administrator, it's an old course that you had, you just go down to your members tab. Now you'd want to make sure there's another administrator assigned to that course. If there's not and you're the only one, I believe you could actually delete the course, but there's a link. Let me go in Schoology. In the CPS Tech Talk course, if you can't see a way to manually delete yourself, remove yourself from the course, you can go in CPS Tech Talk. You'll scroll down to Schoology resources. I will drop this link in the chat. So I'm dropping the Schoology resources in the chat. And the second from the last one down, if you need an old course deleted, fill out this form. fill that out and one of our system admins will delete that course for you. Also, too, to jump back to the specialist question, if you know teaming up with your core content teacher is not going to work for your situation, you can click here for need a course created, fill out this form. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm just cautioning you on adding extra courses to your students while we don't have them physically present to help them navigate. But if you do need a course created, you can absolutely request a course. All right. We are
Can you, Rosemary?
a couple more questions, but then I'm going to, for the good of the group, I want to show, I know a lot of you are like, what do I do once I'm in Schoology? Because we're kind of starting backwards in this session. If you have a blank Schoology course and no content, you get your parents signed up, you got nothing for them to do. So I absolutely want to show some things you need to do before we get off this call. But I'll take
Rosemary,
like
can you quickly show how another teacher can add another teacher to their course?
Yes. Oh, this is perfect. Thank you for asking that, because what I was talking about, partnering up with a teacher, you got to know how to add them to the course. Thanks, Ashley. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add Ashley to my practice course. Ashley's on my team. So I would just go down in my course, down to members. So where we first started when we were looking at connected parents. And I click this button here, add members. I'm going to type in Ashley's name. There she is. Add her to my course. Now there's one more step you have to do though, because if this is one of your Schoology rostered courses, you need to scroll down to that person, click on the gear, and make that person an admin. That way they do not get dropped off with the PowerSchool sync overnight. If you just leave them in and they're not an admin, they will be bumped off when PowerSchool refreshes the roster every night, because PowerSchool will only keep the students that are supposed to be in the course. So we went to members, add members, and added our teammate. Cautionary note, I was working with a teacher who was trying to add an ELL teacher. That teacher was not in her network. That teacher her classification was district office because she serves multiple schools. So she did have to have a system admin add that person for her. So if you are trying to add like your ELL person and they're not showing up in your school, you'll need to contact us to add that person to your course. All right. I'm going to go into samples now because it is 10:50 and I've only got 10 minutes to share with you some samples of how to have parents engaged once they're in there. Because I recommend you start with adding some content first, even if it's just an update. Because one side that we get is sometimes parents contact us and say, they have me signed into Schoology, but there's nothing in there. So we need to have some content in there for parents. So let's look at some examples. This is a preschool example. And if you teach preschool, I have added a resource to you in your early childhood group resources. I didn't create that on my own. That was initiated by Vera Brooks, Della Goodwin-Sebron, Angela McDonald, and a team, their team, as well as some preschool teachers. And we created this template that you can just pull in and add to your course. Okay, so preschool, your team has covered you with a page that you can pull in and add to your course. There are instructions on my YouTube channel how to add this. With us having less than 10 minutes, I'm not going to show the how to. But preschool, you can pull in and already have resources ready to go for your families. Everyone, what you can do is post an update. And sorry, I went to the wrong one. I need to go to mine. Everyone can begin with an update as a material. So click on your update field. You can also do this from the home page. You don't even have to go into your course. And you can send a message to parents for learning at home. Now, at least give them some context. Hi, parents, started using Schoology. Our materials are going to be housed here. You can add a file if you have a document already. So that could be a picture, it could be a Word document, a PDF. You can add a file right there. You can link out to anything you want from the update. So you can link to a website that you're using. You might just say, hey parents, just a reminder, I'm using my Google Classroom. Here's a link to my Google Classroom. That would be something so that parents can go to one place and then tap the link and automatically connect with you. This I recommend you use This is the audio and video recording tool. The biggest problem is we don't get to see our students, and so we can connect with them via a video message. You just click start recording. It starts recording right away, and I'm already sharing my message with students. I'm going to show you, that is the recording feature. You do get to preview it. Remember, I'm showing samples right now. I don't have time for how-tos just yet, but I'm going to show you how you can get my how-to information. Insert that recording, and now those parents and students get a video recording. It should show up something like this. It will actually have a tile with a link to that recording. Okay, so that's adding an update. If that's all you start with is an update, that's great. If you're preschool, please go pull in the materials that your preschool teams has set for you. This is a preschool, kindergarten preschool teacher at North Avondale Montessori, and she has been posting things in the updates like, here's this color scavenger hunt. And then she added her own pictures from her family going on a walk. And she did, you can tell this from your mobile phone. So download that Schoology app and you can actually communicate with your families via your mobile phone. Now here's what I really love that she did. She did a read aloud for her students in Schoology using a pop-up book. And this teacher has done like a story read aloud right in Schoology. I wish I had more time to go into this example. It will be in my Friday session on primary visuals. But to do that, all she did was click on that microphone and recorded herself reading that story. The next example I have for you, this is a more intermediate grade level. So if you are a higher teacher, I don't need to think I don't have stuff for you, plenty of stuff for you. But like adding assignments, discussions, and things like that. But what she did is she housed it all in her homeroom. She renamed the section, not the course, remote learning. So right here, under course options, edit info. When I slow down, the steps are really important because I tend to go super fast. So if I've slowed down, there are important steps. In your course, under course options and edit info, you can rename the section name of your course. Do not rename your course name. When you rename a course name, it renames that course for everybody in the building. Don't rename your course, but you can rename your section. So some teachers are renaming their section by their name so that when parents and students are in, they see their teacher's name and they can click that. This teacher renamed hers remote learning because she wanted her parents and students to know that homeroom is where my remote learning is going on. Then, because she serves multiple grade levels, she's got her 4th grade folder in here, 5th grade, and 6th grade. Now, all those students are in her homeroom, so she has a multi-age homeroom. This is actually a Montessori example. But if you teach a grade level, I worked with some teachers at Woodford who connected all their homerooms for 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. If you're at a high school, you can team up with your 10th grade teachers and connect all your homerooms, and then you can team own that homeroom and share your material. Let's try our best to have one place that everybody has to go to get information in Schoology. Then if you need to do assignments that will be linked to PowerSchool, please keep in mind you will need to have that assignment housed in that course because that course links with that section in PowerSchool. That's getting way ahead. What we're trying to do right now is make everything easy to access for parents. So your homeroom is going to be a great place, or like I said, if you're a content area teacher and you don't see all your students, let's say it's your English 11 and you see all those students all day in English 11, then link English 11 together and put all your updates in there for all your students. All of the how-tos on those things can be found in our CPS Tech Talk course. Under the Schoology section, I think I did forget to paste that, so I'm going to do that now. Sorry, under the Schoology folder, not section. I'm adding that. I'm sure there are a lot of questions, but I did want to promise to get through these samples. That is the Schoology resource folder in Tech Talk, which has your user guides. And this Schoology all-in-one user guide is going to be your best resource for finding how to do all of the various things I talked about, linking sections, renaming sections, getting your parents access, student login information, how do students log in. There are user guides for all of these things. So you might want to send this out to your parents and say, this is the information for how your students log in. Students do need to log in if you post work for the parent to do or for the student to do. But if you're just sharing a resource like preschool has done for learning at home, the student doesn't need to log in, the parent does, because these are just all hyperlinks to websites. They also added the remote learning plan for preschool to this. But that's sort of a very, I know it was a quick overview. I did promise, I've got a note here to show it from mobile. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And I do realize I didn't get end questions in. I am completely willing to stay on an extra 5 or 10 minutes if you have a question. Ashley, are you able to stay in and moderate questions for 5 or 10 more minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. I want to show you mobile. And I'm going to show you the preschool example of the template. I could show you all of them, but we're just running out of time. So as a parent, I would just go into that child's courses, and you can see if we add that image, they're easier to navigate. I have a ridiculous amount of courses I'm in, so a parent would not need to scroll like this. Oops. All right. So if I am that parent and I am in Schoology, you can see the visuals aren't there on the first screen, but as soon as I tap on, and that's why we named it Resources for Families Learning at Home, we made it very crystal clear for them. All of those images show up beautifully from a mobile phone. And I've tested this both on Android and Apple. The resource is open in the appropriate area. If it's a website, Apple will open it right up in Safari. If it's a document, sometimes the mobile device will ask them how they want to open it. My Apple seems to remember my choice more and takes me straight to how I want to open it. But folks, you've got to add resources for parents to be able to access this from mobile. Now the parent can also view my updates. So I'm going to go to that real quick, and then I will stop for questions. Okay, a parent can view my updates right from mobile. And so a video recording that I posted, that parent can view, and that child can view right from mom or dad or grown-up's mobile device. Right, so do keep in mind that this is very mobile friendly, and many of our parents are operating off of mobile devices for their students. All right, it is 11 o'clock on the dot. If you have to go and I didn't get your question answered, I'm sorry. My office hours are this afternoon between 1 and 3. So you can drop into Google Chat, send me a chat message, and get your questions answered instantly. I am hopping from 1 to 3. So please just, if you see that my green dot is on in my chat, just know, like, you can see these green dots next to the people who are signed in. Just know that I'm getting with you. I'm going to try to at least say one moment if I'm currently working with somebody else, and we'll figure out a way to make this work. But my office hours are 1 to 3 today. A code to join Tech Talk. You should be already enrolled, but if you are not, Ashley, I'm going to post that code right now.
I can repost it. I just sent it earlier.
Oh, sweet. Okay. You know what? I'll do it while you look for the questions I need to answer right now.
Oh.
What are some questions that I did not get?
Can you make sure you post all the chat history in your YouTube video when you upload it?
Yep, so I started doing that this week. So if you look at my last video, if you just look right under the show more, I have a link to the transcript. So I'm going to try to go back and get my other videos, but from everything I believe it started this Monday, every video I post, I've got a summary of what agenda we covered and a link to the transcript. Please note that you do have to be logged into your CPS account. I'm not going to share a transcript openly. I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry. In my YouTube channel, when you click on any video that is posted since this week, going to YouTube now. If you look in the information below the video, show more, the link to this transcript is right there. I'm not sharing that with anybody outside the organization because it does have our names, our timestamp, and our questions. So I'm only sharing that with people in our organization. So be signed into your CPS Google account to view that. But I've got the recording, what we covered, and a link to the transcript. Bear in mind, please be patient with me. Sometimes the transcript isn't, like I lost 8 minutes of the transcript. I don't know what happened to it in that one, but I note that at the top. I can look at it and see if something's missing.
And I just posted your YouTube channel. So
Thank you.
You guys should have that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can you repeat real quick?
I assume you already posted the contact hours PD form, right?
Yep, I just posted that. And can you, real quick, for Lori, can you talk the difference between course and group in Schoology?
Yes, thank you. I'm sorry I did not get back to that. I also did not get back to pre-K and K badges. So I did keep a running list here. I'm sorry I didn't get back to those questions. The difference between courses and groups. I'm presenting, right? Okay, hold on. Can you see my screen? All right, I hope you can see, oh, it says I'm presenting, good. Okay, courses here. Courses are automatically generated by PowerSchool. Your complete PowerSchool roster generates a course for every section. So for example, I used to be a self-contained first grade teacher. So I had a PowerSchool roster for reading, math, science, social studies. Ours has seminar, whatever I have a category in PowerSchool, it creates a course in Schoology for all the children on my roster. A group is something that you join. Our district has been using groups for curriculum, like our Math and Me group, our ELA headquarters, our early childhood curriculum and classroom sharing. Those groups are to network us together to share resources. So you want to ask yourself during this time of remote learning, what do I want my students to do? If I want them to do anything that is actionable based, turn in an assignment, participate in a scored discussion. If I want to have materials that they can access and go through chronologically, I would want to use a course, and I would ideally want to use a course that's already there and exists. But if you wanted to use a group, let's look at what groups do. Groups network individual users together, can go across the whole building if you wanted it to. A group administrator has to either add members or invite them to join by sharing the access code. Once in a group, there's a more limited space in the platform. You'll notice there is not a materials page at all. It's just updates and discussions. So you can still have a discussion in here. You can have a discussion, but you can't grade it. You can't track anything on it other than just a visual check of who's participated. So you probably have to keep some sort of manual checklist if you really wanted to keep track of who's participating. But this is for like a collaborative space. So you can post an update, and everything you can do in the update that I showed earlier, attaching a file, a link, adding audio, video recording, you can do that in a group. But it's a lot more manual control on your side. You have to enroll everybody. In this group, this one's not the best example for me to use for classroom teachers, but if you want someone to be able to add to the resources, you have to make them an administrator. So some teachers are using groups to share materials. Groups are great for after-school programs because you might just want your students to have a place to network and share updates, participate in discussions, and maybe you might want them to be able to access some resources like materials for the after-school club or the enrichment or whatever it is. But if you're working with your students, I would use what's there. If you're trying to connect to your parents, I would use the courses. I would not recommend you use the groups. That's my personal opinion. You can use the groups if you want to, but I do recommend we use what's already built for us in Schoology, which is our courses. Any other question? It's 11:07. I want to be respectful of your time, but I'll stay on for at least another 3 to 5 minutes. Did I lose Ashley? Nope, there she is.
There was a lot of chat going on, so if I missed your question, I apologize, but feel free to now ask your question.
Yeah, since there's less of us, if you want to unmute, just, be courteous. If we will stop, let's just kind of popcorn it out if somebody wants to call out their question that's not been addressed. I'm not going to get to badges right now in this, but check with me in my office hours. So if you're pre-K or K and want badges, we'll address that in office hours.
Can you show quickly the pin option on here? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so if I am speaking and you wanted to make sure you see me, you would pin me to the view. Oops, ignore that. Or let's see, I'm gonna pick on Eric. I haven't heard anything from Eric, so thanks for being a nice, quiet participant over there, Eric. If I pin Eric, excuse me, my view holds him as a focal point. So more people can see, or excuse me, not more people, I can see Eric prominently with the rest of the grid. This grid view is that extension, so you can't just, that's not an automatic feature, but if you pin somebody, their view, that's what's going to stay on the screen. Any other questions about Schoology, though?
Can you real quickly show how to change a photo in course, how to change that?
Yes. I'm glad you asked that. Ignore the first two things I do in here. Actually, it is through edit picture, but I'm putting it back to the generic picture. So when you go into your courses, this is what it looks like. And this is what it looks like for your students. So it's why it's really important that you change that image so they have a visual cue of where to go. So you simply hover over the picture and click edit picture. And one thing you can do to just make it stand out, Janine in my 4th or 6th grade example, she just changed the color. So that makes it stand out a little more. It's just got a different color. Or you can add your own custom image. And this is just like attaching to an email. You just select the image you want. I've already pulled an image. I have a file folder on my desk in my documents that is my images for Schoology. I do a lot of image-based stuff. But all I do is add that picture, and now that course image is changed. So in the drop-down menu, they get that image instead of that generic book. Other Schoology questions?
Hi, Rosemary. I've found the resources for the families learning at home for preschoolers, and I've added it to the course under materials. Do the parents automatically see when we add things, or do we have to then link it to the updates?
So that is a really good question. If you add materials and a parent is in there, they don't get notified that you've added materials. Parents can sign up for things like weekly updates, email. I think they can even get a daily email update that will probably tell them that you added something. But updates is really how you say, hey, I've added this. So I would always throw an update out when I built a material. Materials are more static. They're going to stay there. You're going to have your materials in your course the whole time. But updates is where you send out a message. Hey, parents and families, I've added a resource to our course. And what's really cool is you can actually link to it as well. So I can grab this link. I click the URL and click copy. Let me make it a little larger for you. So I clicked up here and hit copy. And then I can go into my update. And I can say, hey everyone, I've added to our course materials. And then I would paste that link. That gives them a notification, a visual cue that there's something been going on added. When I make changes, add a notification. They click on materials, it takes them straight into the course materials. That will just make it easier for everybody to navigate. You don't have to do that, but it'll make navigation easier.
Rosemary,
right.
Can you real quickly show them how you can move up a course, a thumbnail in their course?
Absolutely. Great question, too. Thank you, Ashley, and whoever asked that question. If you go into courses and you have got a bunch of stuff at the top that's not a priority for you, this also applies for your students. You can click on My Courses to the far right, My Courses, And then on the right, there is this button called Reorder Courses. I click on Reorder Courses, and let's say that one of my courses, I always have to click on More, or I always have to click on My Courses to get to, let's say I want this digital citizenship course, and it's below the line. It actually says courses that appear below this line will not appear in the dropdown. So I can take that and I can drag it up. And the cool thing about that is I can drag it to wherever I want it in order as well. So like I keep my Tech Talk as number 1 because that's my job, right? I work in this CPS Tech Talk course with my Learning Technologies team. But I might want to make sure that this course is number 2 or 3. So I can actually drag these around to have my priority order of courses. Now, when you drag them here and you close it, it does reorder them here. So you can see my homeroom pre-K was down here. Now it's my 4th one. So you can count them across as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when you are dragging them in that order, it goes across in that priority. Any other questions? I am going to end at 11:15, guys, because I do have to hop on some other things, but want to make sure I get whatever questions you have about Schoology. Eric, I just saw you unmute.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That was very helpful. I'll be utilizing this. So I hope all is well with you all, and I appreciate it.
You are welcome. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording, and then I'll be disconnecting the call. As a best practice, teachers, remember